Are you ready for it? Are you worried about it? We're going to talk about that. Plus, the Congress can't seem to get anything done on immigration. And just when you think that there might be a light at the end of the tunnel, yesterday both John Boehner and Mitch McConnell came out to sort of throw water on the fire that was burning to get immigration reform done. It's amazing that they still don't see the need to get it done. My take on immigration reform is it's a lot like going to the gym. Everyone knows that you should, but only a few people have the discipline to actually get it done. Apparently, John Boehner and Mitch McConnell aren't those people. The Sochi Olympics are underway. Are you worried about the security going on over there? I sure as hell am. And beyond that, I'm not even sure that they have their stuff together to make sure that there's a good Olympic Games taking place. Twitter is exploding with all kinds of information from journalists that are over there. You've got yellow water. You've got hotel rooms that aren't finished. You've got stray dogs running around. It's a total mess in Sochi, and yet we're all going to be there to watch the opening ceremonies this evening. CVS continues to get praise for their decision to drop tobacco product sales. And Lorne Michaels, the creator of Saturday Night Live, had a very interesting comment on comedy. He says that Republicans can take a joke better than Democrats. Is he right? It's the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn in for Bill. We'll be right here.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids
you.
how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? change the world.
And online, this is The Bill Press Show.
Good morning. It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. It's going to be one of those days. It's going to be one of those days. Bill was supposed to be here today. He had all intentions of being here. And last night, late, he gave me a heads up. Says, not feeling so hot. So I did what any responsible producer would do, is I continued to hang out at the bar that I was in and just hope for the best.
Uh-oh.
No such luck. Mr. Press, still under the weather this morning. So here I am hosting the Bill Press Show Friday, February 7th. You don't have to hit the hallelujah. That's a Bill thing. Personally, the hallelujah thing kind of drives me crazy.
Okay.
Real keeping?
Because it's not Sunday, right? When you have to hear the hallelujah.
Kind of drives me crazy. We don't have to do it. It's a Bill thing. Friday, February 7th. My name is Peter Ogburn again, sitting in for Bill. We are tweeting live all throughout the show, both at BP Show, and I'm tweeting at Peter Ogburn, PeterOgburn. Find me there. And running the board today is Elisa Murphy.
Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
All is well?
Yes, things are good. The weather is actually kind of warm. It's, in the 40s today?
Yeah, practically balmy out there.
I know.
If you call 866-55-PRESS, you will speak to Alicia Cruz, who is screening calls today, or will be screening calls a little bit later. I'll explain. I have a master plan for the opening segment. We'll talk about that. And if you are watching us on Free Speech TV or TawkrTV, TAWKR TV, we are being put onto the video by the one and only Cyprian Bolding. Happy Friday, Sip. There he is with his big Happy Friday hello. So thank you for being there as well. Now, I didn't stay up late last night to watch Jay Leno, but look, I don't like Jay Leno. I don't think he's funny. I don't think he adds much to the TV landscape. That's just me. Okay. Like I think that he was a funny guy at one time, and then I think he just sort of willfully turned that switch and started phoning it in and doing hacky jokes and just wasn't that funny. However, he pulled in ratings for NBC, and they are again pushing him out the door to make room for Jimmy Fallon, who's going to take over the Tonight Show. Last night was Jay Leno's last night. He brought in a bunch of special guests. I think he had Garth Brooks. I believe Queen Oprah was there. Sheryl Crow, I think I saw.
Billy Crystal came in. Who was his first guest?
Kim Kardashian was there.
Oh, royalty.
The stars come out at night, huh? Kim Kardashian, that's your big farewell guest? That's what you've got? But one guest he did have, who wasn't there in person but sent a tape message, was the President of the United States.
Jay, you've made a whole lot of jokes about me over the years, but do not worry, I'm not upset. On a totally unrelated note, I've decided to make you my new ambassador to Antarctica. Hope you've got a warm coat, funny man.
That's not bad.
That's cute.
So then
nice.
I always love cringy television when someone breaks down and starts crying, and that's exactly what Leno did when he was saying farewell last night.
This is tricky. We wouldn't be on the air without you people. Secondly, this has been the greatest 22 years of my life.
And then he got even worse as he went on. He really broke down after that.
Down.
Oh, no. Oh, Jay. Oh, man, he lost it there. Oh, Jay. Bye, Jay.
You can feel that pain.
We'll miss you, buddy. I'm just flat. I'm plain and simple. I'm a David Letterman guy. I like David Letterman because I think Letterman doesn't care. Letterman doesn't give a crap. He doesn't care if anybody likes him. He still tries new material, weird new material, and he's universally loved by, the people that go on a show. Whereas Leno is obsessed with how people view him and wants to be liked and all this stuff. And then
it's weird. It's kind of a parallel between kind of the New York versus the LA scene in a way. Like Letterman's kind of the New Yorker at heart in a sense.
That's a very good point. So speaking of late night and comedy, this is a story that I find very interesting. So Saturday Night Live, their creator, the very well-known Lorne Michaels, gave an interview a couple of days to Vulture, I believe. Yeah, New York Magazine's Vulture blog, right? And one of the things that he talked about is sort of the political aspect of what Saturday Night Live does. They do a lot of political humor. They make fun of politics, political candidates, political figures. Sarah Palin, probably most notably, with Tina Fey playing Sarah Palin, which was hilarious. And one of the things that Lorne Michaels said is that Republicans can take a joke better than Democrats.
Huh?
He said Republicans can take a joke better than Democrats. And what he says, he defends that by saying Democrats tend to take it personally. Republicans think it's funny. Now, I've worked with Bill for a long, long time. Before I worked with Bill, it's no secret that I worked in conservative radio.
The other side.
The other side, the darker side. And look, that was the only kind of radio that was really out there at the time. And I make no bones about the fact that I'm a relatively progressive person. I'm not as nearly as progressive as Bill, but I've worked both sides of the aisle. Okay. And I have to tell you that I think Lorne Michaels is absolutely right. I really, truly think that Republicans are funnier than Democrats. Now, I think that the funniest people that we have in society today, comedians and comedy writers and things like that, tend to be Democrats, celebrities that make it to that stage. But overall, right, I think that the big problem, not problem, but the issue with Democrats is they do take things personally. And also, they just believe that they are so right.
Their convictions.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but let's not say that means that you're a funny person, that you can take a joke better. I always tell the analogy of when I was working in right-wing radio, the conservative talk show host would, put something out there and make these progressives or libs or lefty moonbats or whatever they would call them on conservative radio. They'd get them all frothed up and all angry, and he would just sit back and just say, look at him getting all worked up. Man, this is great. Oh, I love it. I love this. Whereas with progressives and liberals, a lot of times, if you get somebody that disagrees with you, it's just like, no, this is the way it is. This is right. You're wrong. Listen to me. Let me explain it to you. I have to tell you why there is no real, just letting it be. You got to win every battle. So here's what I'm proposing today. It's a little goofy, I know. But it's Friday. What the hell? Maybe I'm wrong. I could very well be wrong. But look, it's Friday. If you can call in and make me laugh, or make us laugh collectively, right? I'd say we have a pretty progressive audience.
Yes, we do, I think. Yes, we do, of course.
Call us and tell us a joke, okay? If you do, you could win $50.
$50? $50 $50 on the table?
$50 to either Pro Flowers or to Sherry's Berries.
Ooh,
just in time for Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's great.
So you could call in if you tell us a joke. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. 866-557-7377. Call us now, and if you can tell us a joke, you can make us laugh. You could win $50 to Pro Flowers or $50 to Sherry's Berries. Now, here's the one thing that I will say. Here's the one caveat that I'll put in on this, okay? I think that in today's day and age where you have more people accessing media, and you have people on Twitter, and you have more access to these public figures, that a lot of times what happens is you think things are funny until it happens to your person, right? Like I think that even Republicans now, all politicians are super, super, super careful about the image and protecting the image. And if that means that there's a joke that might be seen as inappropriate on some level, then they rally behind that person and take it very seriously. And, you know, it's not funny anymore. But I think Lorne Michaels is onto something. Now, Tina Fey, I think her original appearance as Sarah Palin on Saturday Night Live, she came on and just delivered exactly what Sarah Palin had said, like verbatim. And that got so many laughs that Sarah Palin took offense to that. But it was her words, literally. She just read them verbatim.
There wasn't any need to write material. It was actually just verbatim what she had said.
Why write
right?
material when you got something that golden?
Exactly.
But I could see Lorne Michaels' point. I think that there is the notion of the Democrats have no sense of humor, about themselves. That whole meme that's out there, I think it is well earned. I'll put it that way. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. 866-557-7377. Start lining up now, because I'm going to take some of your calls live on the air. You could win $50 to either Pro Flowers or Sherry's Berries. I'm going to just do cold calls. Can I just do cold calls? Alicia, can I just do cold calls? I'm just going to go straight live. We're in delay, right, in case somebody says something. All right, let's just go live. Hey, it's the Bill Press Show. You're on the air. Who's this? Who is this? All right, hey, it's the Bill Press Show. Who's this?
Good morning. It's Mike from West Virginia.
Hey, Mike, from where are you calling from in West Virginia?
Shepherdstown, actually.
All right, Mike in Shepherdstown. All right, so you've seen the story about Lorne Michaels.
I live here in a kind of a progressive haven.
Okay.
A little bit. I just wanted to tell a joke.
All right, this is your big shot. You're live on the air.
Okay, full disclosure.
Go ahead.
I'm actually a professional stand-up comic, so I wanted to just say I'm not plugging anything. My father-in-law was very, very conservative, and I am not. I'm a progressive.
Well, the threshold just went a little bit higher, knowing that you are stand-up. I was going to say, now that
you put out the stand-up thing, now,
I know.
You're going to have to really...
But no, this was his favorite joke. He loved this joke. He said that there was an incident in a Republican family where somebody got in an accident, and the doctor came out of the operating room and said it's really bad. And the guy said, "Well, how bad is it?" He said, "Well, he's brain dead, but his heart's still beating." And the woman went, the mother goes, "Oh my God, we've never had a liberal in the family, never." So that was
866-55-PRESS is our phone number. We're taking your calls live on the air. Hey, he set the bar high with his stand-up comic. I'm sorry, Mike.
Yes, he did.
I'm sorry, Mike. Hey, who's this?
Joan.
Hey, Joan. Where are you calling from?
Owasso, Michigan.
All right, you have a joke?
A bad joke.
Okay. Hey, look, bad jokes could totally work. At least you set it up. You set the bar low here, so go ahead.
The president was supposed to pass the farm bill by the end of the year. He signed it at the East Lansing at Michigan State this afternoon. However, they should have put the farm prices back to $47.49 because they own
866-55-PRESS. I can't with that. Let's take a break. We've got tons of calls. You've got your chance to win $50 from Pro Flowers or Sherry's Berries. All you have to do is make me laugh. All you have to do is make me laugh. Look, it's not that hard. Just tell me a joke. Prove to me that Lorne Michaels is wrong and that Democrats are funnier than Republicans. 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm in for Bill Press. We will take your calls, so if you're calling, stay on the line. We will be back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough. Enough. Enough.
Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad, as a friend, as a husband,
As a wife.
as an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
This is the Bill Press Show.
866-55-PRESS is our phone number, 866-557-7377. I didn't start this, by the way. I know everyone's mad that I hung up on a nice older woman. I'm sure it was a funny joke. But, like, look, that's my point. I do think that Republicans overall have a better sense of humor than Democrats. And I think Lorne Michaels is right when he said that. Now, this is a total experiment. I understand that this is uncharted territory, but we are taking your calls at 866-55-PRESS right now. Tell me a joke, make us laugh. You could win $50 to ProFlowers or Sherry's Berries.
Just in time for Valentine's Day.
Just in time for Valentine's Day. And if you call us and you give us something that's funny and you make us laugh, you could get it. You'll get you'll get a code to go online. You set it up. You give it to your sweetheart, whatever. I mean, who doesn't like flowers or chocolate-covered strawberries?
The strawberries are awesome.
They are phenomenal. They are phenomenal. If you want to get it on your own, you go to proflowers.com or berries.com. And either way, make sure you click on the microphone in the top right corner. Type in the name Press to get your discount. But if you want to get some free stuff, call us 866-55-PRESS. It's that easy. All right. We're just going to go back to cold calling these people, going straight on the air. So you're on the air. Who is this?
This is Dale in California.
Dale in California. You're up early or up late?
Up late. I just want to preface by saying that John McCain once hosted SNL only because his daughter Megan was interning.
But you know what? John McCain did SNL, and he was not that funny. So not all Republicans are funny. So go ahead.
Okay, my joke is, actually, I saw this on a T-shirt, the GOP on law enforcement. Fewer cops, more George Zimmermans.
Ooh, dark humor, but no, it didn't make me laugh. All right, who's this?
This is John.
John, where are you calling from?
Highbridge, New Jersey.
All right, go ahead, man. Fire away.
This joke is stolen from a Democrat.
That's okay.
Man goes into the doctor's office, has a lump on his forehead. Doctor says, "Oh my God, I've never seen this condition before. In 6 weeks, you're going to have a fully formed penis growing out of your forehead." Guy says, "Well, can't you cut it off?" He says, "We can't. If we do that, you're going to die. It'll affect your brainstem." He says, "You mean in 6 weeks I'm going to have to stare at a penis on my forehead in the mirror for the rest of my life?" He says, "Nah, the testicles will cover your eyes."
We have a winner. We have a winner. John, that's pretty good. John, I'll give it to you, buddy. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I tell you what, John from New Jersey, I'm going to put you on hold. He's on line. He's on line 2, Alicia. So grab him. Find out whether he wants something from Sherry's Berries or Pro Flowers. Bathroom humor, man.
It's a winner every
works.
time.
Please don't come on and curse. All right, but you could do bathroom humor. We've got plenty of these to give away, so we'll give away more. Keep calling. Let's go to line 3. Who's this?
It's Paul in Reston, Virginia.
What do you say, Paul? How you doing, man?
A local in Reston.
In Reston, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, listen, House Republicans just unveiled a new plan. Did you hear about it? House Republicans unveiled a new plan that will allow undocumented immigrants to become citizens if they learn about American history. Now, I think that's great because then they can teach it to Americans. Now, also, hey, listen, here's a quick.
All right, thanks so much for the call. I mean, he did make me laugh, but I was laughing more at him trying to sell the joke.
Are you laughing at the joke or are you laughing at the man in Reston, Peter?
I'm not laughing at him. Look, good effort. Is it worth $50 for Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries in the spirit of the Sochi Olympics? Yet. Call us at 866-55-PRESS. I got a ton of these to give away. Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries. Give us a call. 866-55-PRESS. Tell us a joke. Prove to me that Democrats are funnier than Republicans. You could win. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, look. My name is Peter Ogren. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. 866-55-PRESS is our telephone number. 866-557-7377. Some people are mad. But look, don't call unless you think you have a funny joke. But if you do have a funny joke, call us at 866-55-PRESS, tell it to us, and you too, friend, could end up like John from New Jersey, who won $50 to either Pro Flowers or Sherry's Berries. If you don't have a joke that you would like to tell us, you can just go to proflowers.com or berries.com and order your item as long as you enter the password PRESS when you click on the microphone in the top right corner. But if you would like some free money to go visit those sites and buy some stuff for Valentine's Day, call me, make me laugh. This all comes from the story where Lorne Michaels from Saturday Night Live said that Republicans can take a joke better than Democrats because Democrats take it personally. And I tend to agree. I've hung out with a lot of Republicans. I hang out with a lot of Democrats. And I have to say, I think Republicans can be funnier.
And I think Republicans can make fun of themselves more sometimes.
Well, I mean, yes. Yes, but I also think that Democrats can on some level, but they also feel because they feel so convicted, right? They feel such power in their convictions that they can't just let a cheap joke slide. They have to defend everything. That's my take on it. It's 34 minutes past the hour. We're just taking calls as they come on the air, okay? So we're not screening anybody out. Everyone gets a fair shot here. All right, who's this?
Hi, it's Paul from Red. I think I got cut off.
Oh, Paul, where are you? You already? No, you didn't get cut off. You had a bad joke. Who's this? Hello.
Jessica?
Hey, Jessica.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Deltona, Florida.
All right. Okay. Florida.
I'm more of a Twitter follower, so calling in is like really new for me.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I will do my best to not hang up on you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're on Twitter? Would you? All right. Will you follow us on Twitter at BP Show? That's great.
Yes, I do. Okay.
All right. Tell me a joke and make me laugh.
Okay. So a pirate walks into a bar with a steering wheel around his neck, and the pirate barkeep looks at him and goes, "Sir, do you know you have a steering wheel around your dick?" And the pirate goes, "Maybe I do, and it's driving me nuts."
That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jessica. Put her on hold. I'll put her on hold. She can go. Jessica, because of the sheer absurdity of that. Jessica, you just won $50 to either Pro Flowers or Sherry's Berries. Get her name and get her email address. Thank you. All right, let's move on. Who's this? Hello.
Hello.
Oh, go ahead. What's your joke? Cheapers, creepers. Just you're on the air.
Yeah, so I went to the doctor for a physical. You know, Peter, I wasn't feeling good. So he says, we got to run some tests. So he wants a blood sample, a stool sample, and a urine sample. So I dropped my underwear and I walked out. All of a sudden he goes, whoa, I'm not done with you yet. We got to do a prostate exam. So he gives me the woo, you know. And he goes, it don't feel right. We got to run more tests. I said, no, you don't. I want a second opinion. So then he puts 2 fingers in my butthole.
Dump that. Would you dump that? Seriously, dump that. You for God's sake, when you call in, don't be quite so crass.
Exactly.
I mean, I like that kind of humor. Come on. Jesus God, what's wrong with you people? Hello, you're on the air.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
This is Robbie Francis, the OCD comic.
Oh, well, with an introduction like that. Let's go, Robbie. Make me laugh.
All right. That's actually a true story. I got really lucky a few months ago, slept with this sexy policewoman. But unfortunately, afterwards, she said I wasn't that good, and she wasn't satisfied, so she wrote me a ticket. She actually wrote me 3 violations. One was speed not reasonable and prudent, failure to safely yield, and driving in the...
I don't care what the other one is. Come on, you're killing me.
Too bad. Too bad.
Am I crazy?
No. I agree.
Like, there have been some funny jokes. John in New Jersey and Jessica in Florida. Like, that got me. That was good.
Yes.
I like that.
And, we are on the radio, so delivery does count.
By the way, pro tip if anybody's listening and wants to call, 866-55-PRESS. Don't call in and tell me you're a comic.
I know, that right there. I mean, right now, the threshold goes a little bit higher.
Normally, I'd be like, okay, well, call in, give us a plug, tell us where you are, you're on Twitter or whatever, but don't call in and tell me you're a comic and then be that unfunny.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about? The OCD comic, he says.
I know. What does
that even mean? What does that even mean? All right, let's go. Let's check this line out. All right, you're on the air. Who's this? Yo.
Hello?
Hey, who's this?
This is Marty.
Marty! What's happening, Marty? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Beverly, Mass.
All right, man. Time to tell me a joke,
Okay.
Make me laugh.
Okay, there were these 2 whales swimming around, a male and a female, swimming around, having a good old time. They come up for air, and the male whale sees a boat. He goes, holy cow, that's the ship that killed my father. She goes, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. He says, well, I'm going to fix him. Listen, if both of us get underneath the boat and let all our air out, the boat will rise, tilt over, and sink. She goes, okay. So they go ahead, and they get underneath the boat, and they let her loose. And sure enough, the ship sank. They're all happy. He's happy to be have closure. And so they're swimming up for some more air, and the male whale says, holy cow, look at that. All those sailors are swimming towards the shore. They're going to be safe. They'll just do it again. He says, listen, what we got to do is just go get them. She goes, wait a minute. I went along with the blowjob, but I'm not going to swallow this.
Just stop it. Would you dump that? What is wrong with you people?
We are on air here, folks.
What is wrong with you people? Marty, you had me.
The FCC is right down the street.
I mean, for God's sake. Maybe I asked for this. Maybe I brought this on myself. Is this my fault that I asked for a funny joke? And nobody can tell a damn joke that's not... People are animals. I swear. All right. Who's this? You're on the air.
Yes, this is Olufemi from Gates, North Carolina.
Okay, all right. North Carolina representing. I love it. I'm from South Carolina, so I can appreciate.
All right.
A Southern man always tells better jokes. What was your first name again?
Olufemi.
Okay. I guess it's spelled like it sounds. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Republicans never sleep. Democrats, that's all they do.
that the joke?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, you're on the air. Who's this?
Marissa from East Haven, Connecticut.
Marissa?
Yes.
Hi, Marissa. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm great. This is so exciting.
You're live on the air. It's so what?
This is so exciting.
Isn't this fun? Well, thank you.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay.
I promise that this will not be painful. Just make us laugh. Just make us laugh. Worst thing that could happen is we just cut you off mid-sentence, but go ahead.
Sure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Right. Why does
Make me laugh.
Why does Snoop Dogg carry an umbrella?
Why?
For drizzle.
Yes.
And we have a laugher.
Best joke of the day. That's actually best joke of the day. Best joke of the day. Marissa, East Haven, Connecticut, right?
Yes.
All right. Phenomenal. I'm going to put you on hold. Alicia's going to talk to you.
What line?
She's on line 2. Line 2. Oh, shoot. You know what? I think I just hung up on her. Anyway, no, she's back on hold. All right. If I did hang up on her, call us back, Marissa. But Marissa from East Haven, Connecticut, she gets the best joke of the day. I have one more of these I'm going to give away this hour to either proflowers.com or berries.com for Valentine's Day. So we're just going to take one final call. Roll the dice. Cyprian, yell out a phone line. Line 1, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
I am.
Yeah, who's this?
Oh, I'm calling. This is Matt, and I was going to tell a joke.
All right, Matt, tell us a joke. Where are you calling from?
Calling from Minerva, New York.
Minerva, New York. Okay. All right. We've given away 3 of these already. You could be the 4th.
All right.
All right. You're live. Tell me a joke. Make me laugh, Matt.
All right. What's the difference between a moron and an oxymoron?
Tell me.
Oxymoron's Fox News. A total moron's somebody that watches it.
All right. It did make me laugh. I appreciate the sentiment. I like the political humor.
Me too.
I appreciate it. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. We need to take a break because we have to talk to Susan Page. We're going to talk about some actual news going on. I know, right? Crazy. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. We, like I said, going to take a quick break, come back, talk to Susan Page, see what's going on in the news. And still taking your calls, by the way. I have more of these to give away. Maybe I'll do some in the next hour. So think of a joke. Call us. Make sure you're watching youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV. My name is Peter Ogburn for Bill Press. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is possible to read the history of this country as one long struggle to extend the liberties established in our Constitution to everyone in America. In other words, who, according to our laws and culture, gets to be considered a person? The law creates legal personhood, and movements create law and change culture. So, how have the courts passed laws to shape our culture? That history goes way back before Citizens United. 1819, Dartmouth College versus Woodward, Supreme Court case, turned a corporate charter from a government-granted charter to a contract. This ruling gave corporations standing within the Constitution. 1886, Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad. Though the court did not rule on corporate personhood, the decision was subsequently cited as a precedent to hold that a private corporation is entitled to the same 14th Amendment rights of due process and equal protection as human beings. This makes it impossible for us to make laws that treat local businesses any differently than giant multinational corporations, even if their business practices are deemed to be harmful to workers, the environment and communities, or if they have a history of violating the law. Hale versus Henkel, 1906. The court granted corporations the Fourth Amendment search and seizure protection. Dodge versus Ford Motor Company, 1919. The Michigan Supreme Court says the business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. Stockholder primacy is established. The purpose of the corporation, according to the court, is no longer to serve the public good, as it had been. It is now to maximize profit for shareholders above all else. Pennsylvania Coal Company versus Mahon, 1922. Corporations get the Fifth Amendment takings clause, meaning if you pass a regulation that impacts a corporation's ability to make a profit, that is deemed a taking, and they can sue for the right to future profits lost. This creates a chilling effect, and local and state governments become much more hesitant to pass laws in the public interest for fear that corporations can claim loss of potential profits that cities and states will be on the hook to pay. Buckley versus Vallejo, 1976. The Supreme Court rules that spending money to influence elections is protected under the First Amendment, in effect saying that money is speech. Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, 2010.
Today, the Supreme Court of Chief Justice John Roberts declared that because of the alchemy of its 19th century predecessors in deciding that corporations had all the rights of people, any restrictions on how these corporate beings spend their money on political advertising are unconstitutional.
The court's ruling threatens to undermine the integrity of elected institutions across the nation. It's a rejection of the common sense of the American people.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Thank you so very much for tuning in and for all of your calls over the hour. 866-55-PRESS. Continue to call in. We're still giving away gift cards to proflowers.com and berries.com. We'll try and sneak some of those in a little bit later on. $50 is what you can win to proflowers.com or Sherry's Berries. It's Friday, and as we do just about every Friday at this time, we speak to USA Today's Washington Bureau Chief, Susan Page. Susan, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Peter. Now, I've got a question for you.
Go ahead.
So is this like an All About Eve situation where you've managed to thicken Bill Press so that you can fill in and show what you can do on the show?
I have to tell you, Bill gave me the heads up last night. He says, hey, I'm not feeling so hot. It was kind of late at night, and I wasn't nearly prepared. So I stayed up just in case. And so this morning, he gives me a call when I'm on my way into work, and he sounded horrible. And knowing Bill and having worked with Bill as long as I have, Bill would have to be seriously stricken with some sort of violent illness to not come into work. Because the guy works more than anybody I know.
Well, this is your opportunity, Peter.
Stars have to shine, Susan. Stars have to shine. You can follow Susan Page on Twitter at Susan Page and online at usatoday.com. So, Susan Page, I want to start with immigration reform, which seems like this is a topic that comes up every couple of months here in this town. But yesterday, both John Boehner and Mitch McConnell sort of throwing a little bit of cold water on the idea of immigration reform. What exactly is going on, and where are we?
Well, I think we always knew immigration reform was a long shot this year. But there were a few embers that kept hope alive. I think a little cold water got poured on those embers yesterday, and it sort of underscored what I think is an unwillingness by many House Republicans to tackle this issue this year, because they disagree with it on policy, because they don't want to give a victory to President Obama on an issue he cares about, and because they don't want to get focused on an issue that divides the GOP as they head into these midterm elections. So I think the odds just got significantly longer that anything significant gets done on immigration this year.
I wonder if part of the Boehner comments are part of the long game with getting something done. But then it's like you said, it all comes down to these Tea Party members of Congress on so many issues these days. So what's the future of that? I mean, where are we going?
Well, it could be, because we've seen Speaker Boehner on another issue on the debt ceiling,
right,
kind of talk tough and yet clearly be prepared to make a deal. So using kind of tough rhetoric to please the people in his caucus while being prepared to do what it takes to raise the debt ceiling by the end of this month and avoid the threat of defaulting on our debts. But I think immigration is just a tough issue. Last year it had a big head of steam coming out of the 2012 elections, and it still couldn't get over the finish line. And I think it just feels to me like an issue that gets addressed again in a really meaningful way after another presidential election, or if there are big decisive results from the midterm elections, maybe it gets tackled. And if one party or the other really comes on with a kind of big wave election this fall, maybe that revives it. But it's tough. It's a hard issue. That's why we seem to be unable to do anything about it.
You know, it's one of the things I said earlier, I hate to repeat myself, is that this is kind of like going to the gym, right? Everybody knows that you should probably get that done, but it takes a certain amount of discipline to actually do it. And
I wouldn't know, Peter, because I never go to the gym.
Neither do I. Neither do I. Trust me.
I guess it requires some discipline I don't have.
But I want to play this clip for you of Nancy Pelosi yesterday when she was talking about getting something done on immigration, sort of what she faced.
I have faith in him and the good person that he is, and it's tough. It's tough, but I had to take some really tough votes when I was Speaker, and what we did is let people vote the way they wanted to vote and making sure we had one vehicle that would get the job done.
So she's talking about John Boehner. I'm not so sure that she actually feels bad for him.
And do you think Boehner appreciates getting some advice in public from Nancy Pelosi?
No, I'm sure he does not. I'm sure he does not. But is there any substance to what she's saying there about we just put it up for the vote, let people vote how they want, and then what?
Well, you could take that approach and pass. You could pass something maybe akin to the Senate compromise that passed last year, if you depended on Democratic votes and a minority of Republican votes. But they haven't been willing to do that, except very rarely have the Republican leadership been willing to pass things with that kind of coalition, and especially on an issue like this. I just continue to be kind of a pessimist now. Sometimes things turn around. You can be surprised. The dynamic can shift, but it just doesn't feel ripe to me. There just doesn't seem to be enough impetus by the players that you'd have to get behind it to do something.
Yeah. I mean, certainly there aren't any high-profile leadership really pushing to say, like, we just have to get this done. Without that, yikes.
Yeah. Well, Speaker Boehner has talked about this pretty consistently as something he'd like to get done. He thinks need to get done, but his position in the Republican caucus has gotten better since he's, was willing to march with the Tea Party folks over the cliff last October and shut down the government. But that doesn't mean he commands votes. It's not like the 60s or the 70s where the leadership of Congress can make people vote the way they want.
All right. Good stuff from Susan Page, Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today. Thank you, Susan.
Get well soon to Bill.
I'll tell him. I'll pass that message along. Thank you so much for coming on with the backup team.
You bet.
Susan Page from USA Today, Washington Bureau Chief. Follow her on Twitter. Very good follow on Twitter at Susan Page, and read her online at usatoday.com. My name is Peter Ogburn, and for Bill, I'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Thank you. And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It's the Bill Press Show. 57 minutes past the hour. A couple big guests coming up in the next couple of hours. Weather editor for the Washington Post, Jason Samenow, and defense reporter for Politico, Leigh Munsil, will be in the studio. Lord, have you told them that Bill's not here yet? Like, have you said that Bill is out today?
Yeah, I shot an email over.
All right, Elisa, I have to talk to you about something. We have to talk about a problem we're having.
Uh-oh.
On Twitter, where we tweet at BP Show, yesterday, Desert Voice says, I love the show, but Elisa needs to stop playing with her hair. How unprofessional.
Unbelievable.
I haven't caught you playing with your hair. Do you play with your hair while you're on the...
No, I don't play with my hair at all.
I didn't think so.
The only issue I have with my hair is that I do have a lot of it.
You have long curly hair.
And when you get these cords in your hair...
The microphone, the headphone
Yesterday I had my hair half up, and so a lot of the hair gets caught in the cord. So I'm I move it out of the cord.
That's so unprofessional.
But I would not call that playing with my hair. I've never had straight hair to play with it.
Cut your hair off.
I might have to. I'm that committed. I would do it.
Leave Elisa alone. Her hair is fine, for God's sake. What's wrong with you?
This is the Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Good morning. Good morning. It is the Bill Press Show. Clearly, I am not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm going to be sitting in for Bill today. Bill is under the weather. Last minute pitching change here, so I'm going to do my best. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's okay. We have a great show lined up, just as if Bill was going to be here. So much stuff going on in the news. First of all, I know a lot of people around the country are already dealing with bad weather and the fallout from some bad weather. The bad news is more is coming this weekend. Are you ready for it? Are you worried about it? We're going to talk about that. Plus, the Congress can't seem to get anything done on immigration, and just when you think that there might be a light at the end of the tunnel, yesterday both John Boehner and Mitch McConnell came out to sort of throw water on the fire that was burning to get immigration reform done. It's amazing that they still don't see the need to get it done. My take on immigration reform is it's a lot like going to the gym. Everyone knows that you should, but only a few people have the discipline to actually get it done. Apparently, John Boehner and Mitch McConnell aren't those people. The Sochi Olympics are underway. Are you worried about the security going on over there? I sure as hell am. And beyond that, I'm not even sure that they have their stuff together to make sure that there's a good Olympic Games taking place. Twitter is exploding with all kinds of information from journalists that are over there. You've got yellow water. You've got hotel rooms that aren't finished. You've got stray dogs running around. It's a total mess in Sochi, and yet we're all going to be there to watch the opening ceremonies this evening. CVS continues to get praise for their decision to drop tobacco product sales. And Lorne Michaels, the creator of Saturday Night Live, had a very interesting comment on comedy. He says that Republicans can take a joke better than Democrats. Is he right? It's the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn in for Bill. We'll be right here.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids
you.
how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
on your TV and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is The Bill Press Show. Clearly, I am not Bill Press. I am Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. It's been a very weird couple of hours because I got the heads up late last night that Bill says he wasn't feeling so hot. And told me to be on standby. So I didn't exactly do the responsible thing. I was already in the middle of my evening. I just carried on with it. But look, it doesn't matter how prepared I am or what's going on in the world today. I'm here. Bill's very sorry to miss it. I worked with Bill for a long, long time. And I can tell you that if Bill calls out from work, he must be very sick. It's the flu. I mean, I'm sure he's fine, but, you know, he's going to get better. But trust me, you wouldn't want to see him the way that he was sounding on the phone.
Oh, that's horrible to hear.
So he should be back on Monday. I'm sure he'll be fine. It's Friday, February 7th, 2014. Like I said, my name is Peter Ogburn. I'm tweeting at Peter Ogburn on Twitter, OGBURN. We're also tweeting all throughout the show at BP Show. That's the show Twitter handle. Also, watch us live on Free Speech TV, live on DirecTV and Dish Network, and on the Roku box if you've got one of those nifty devices. If you're not near a television or one of the Roku devices, you can stream the show on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKRTV. You can find us there. Running the board this morning on this Friday is Elisa Murphy.
Good morning. How are you doing, Peter?
I'm doing well. The newest member of the team.
Yes.
Elisa Murphy. How long has it been now? It's been a couple months.
Just a few months, I guess. Yeah.
How are you feeling in the new position?
I like it. It's very rare today, actually. It's the first time I've been able to use the dump button so many times.
Yeah, we had some callers work a little blue with the jokes they tried to tell, which I don't appreciate. But that's good. You get the good experience of how to do that.
No, it's been really a marvelous time.
Good.
You and Bill both are wonderful people to work with.
Just don't play with your hair so much.
I'm trying. I might have to go back to a bob. I haven't had one of those since I was 7, but I might have to do that.
If you call 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377, there's a good chance you will talk to Alicia Cruz, screening the calls there. And on the video feed today, keeping us on air on TawkrTV and Free Speech TV, is Mr. Cyprian Bolding, live there, keeping us on air. So, breaking news on CNN this morning. Vice President Joe Biden sat down with Kate Baldwin, with their one of their morning show hosts, and he said that he's going to make a decision on whether or not he's going to run for president by the summer of 2015, which is interesting because that's like a year and a half away.
Yeah, so he's still thinking about it, pondering.
Here's a little insight, right? And this sounds like he's certainly leaning towards running. Asked if there was, this is from CNN, asked if there was a reason not to run. Biden said, "There's no obvious reason for me why I think I should not run. For me, the decision to run or not run is going to be determined by me as to whether or not I am the best qualified person to focus on the few things I've spent my whole life on." So, sounds like he's going in that direction.
Yeah, it does.
Like he's going in that direction. Interesting clip from Biden yesterday. Where was he? Do you remember where he was? He was. Go ahead.
Speaking in Philadelphia.
Oh, in Philadelphia. Okay. Well, he was talking about infrastructure, and was talking a little bit about how we need to fix up our public transportation, our trains, and he talked about airports, and he made this analogy.
If I blindfolded someone and took him at 2 o'clock in the morning into the airport in Hong Kong and said, "Where do you think you are?" They said, "This must be America. It's a modern airport." If I took him blindfolded and took you to LaGuardia Airport in New York, you must think I must be in some third world country.
Wow. He's taking some flack for comparing LaGuardia to a third world country. But I will say his point of, I haven't been to the airport in Hong Kong, which he referenced. It's supposed to be very nice and updated. But I can tell you, having seen some airports in this country, they could use a little update.
It's true. I actually fly out of JFK most of the time or into New York, so I don't know. Does LaGuardia look really bad?
I haven't been into LaGuardia in a very long time, but I can tell. I mean, the point of, look, we need to update. I mean, and it's one of the busiest airports in the country. It should be updated and upgraded, make sure that it's functioning at as best as it can.
Well, it is kind of scary when you get onto the old planes that still have kind of like the ashtrays.
Ooh, tell me about it.
Not fun.
Tell me about it. One thing that could certainly disrupt travel plans to LaGuardia or otherwise is the weather. And what are we expected to see this weekend? All right, so like a week or two ago, people were freaking out, or a week ago, I should say, people were freaking out saying that this coming weekend is going to be a mess. It's going to be a disaster. So we called up our friend Jason Samenow, weather editor for the Washington Post. You can find them online at WashingtonPost.com. Jason, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, should we be freaking out on the East Coast?
Not at all, based on the forecast for this weekend. And, right now, it doesn't look like we're going to be totally out of the woods in terms of the wave, a little bit of snowfall, especially in the mid-Atlantic Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, and then maybe in the Northeast Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. But the massive blizzard, the epic storm that was being hyped on the Internet in some circles, that's not happening.
Now, how does someone predict that far away I saw one of the things that said that could be as much as 30 inches on the East Coast. I mean, how is it that someone can even attempt a prediction that far away?
Well, we have these computer models, which are representations of the atmosphere, and they can forecast out to 15 days or so. But the problem is that once you get beyond about a week, they have no skill. That is, they're no better than just looking at your historical averages and saying the weather will be, like it was in any given year on the same date.
That's interesting.
So basically what happens is, some people who have access to these models, in order to generate hype and to attract eyeballs, whether it's to their Facebook page or their Twitter feed or their blog, they post these rather remarkable and outrageous computer model forecasts, and they spread virally. And that's what happened in the case of this weekend. There were some pretty remarkable snowfall projections being put out by one of the models about 10 days ago, and some people posted them on Facebook, and they got shared thousands of times. So, and that's what can happen. So, the meteorological community, a lot of folks who are respected in meteorology, are trying to confront this and tell people, rely on trusted sources. Make sure you know where your information is coming from, because there's some there are high school kids who are interested in meteorology. They're amateurs. They don't maybe understand the limits of predictability, so they're putting this stuff out there. They're the best intentions, but there are unintended consequences, when they get spread all around, and then it can be very misleading.
That's interesting to hear you say that, because, we here in Washington, we couldn't go anywhere without hearing, the question, you think we're going to get it? You think we're going to get it? You think we're going to get the big blizzard coming up this week? And so it's interesting to hear you say that, a lot of this was kind of junk science.
Right. I think the thing is that, the pattern actually has been an active one for winter weather, and there was some legitimate reason to expect some storminess this weekend, and there are going to be parts of the east that get some snow. So it's not like, we're not getting some winter weather this weekend. It was just these sort of over-the-top predictions. Those were what we had to confront.
Right. All right, that makes sense. So I'm not going to freak out totally then.
No, you might, if you're in the D.C. area, a couple periods of snow this weekend, probably not a lot of accumulation, but stay tuned. Go to the Capital Weather Gang. We'll have the latest updates today.
Excellent. Okay, well, let me ask you this then, because there is no doubt that we have seen record low temperatures sort of all around the country, and the words polar vortex are getting thrown around a lot. Assuming we don't, everyone's heard the term polar vortex. What exactly is it? Why is it happening?
Right. Well, this is something which has been around. The meteorological community sort of came up with the definition of the polar vortex in the 1940s or 1950s. So this is nothing new. And the polar vortex is a constant feature in the atmosphere. It's a big area of low pressure. In the Arctic, they also have a polar vortex in the southern hemisphere, too, around the Antarctic. And at times during the winter, chunks of it will break off and head south towards the mid-latitudes. And that's typically when we have our cold air outbreaks, when you get these chunks of the vortex diving south and the jet stream flows around them, and you get these dips in the jet stream, and you get these cold air outbreaks. So this year we've just had particularly big ones.
Mm-hmm.
We've had big chunks of this vortex coming south and into the southern Canada and the northern U.S., and so we've had stronger episodes of cold air than we have in recent years. But if you go back to the 80s and the 70s, there were cold air outbreaks which were as stronger. So whereas this year the cold air has been rather unusual in the context of the last decade or two, when you look at the historical record, it's nothing that out of the ordinary, really.
It's also kind of weird to me that one day it's, 2 degrees, and then the next day it's, 45.
Right. Yeah, and that just has to do with the variability of the atmosphere and the jet stream. You can the jet stream can take a dive, but then something pushes it out of the way, and we warm back up, so you get these spikes in temperature, and that's not that unusual either.
Okay. All right. Well, final question I want to ask you, because it's inevitable whenever the weather gets cold. This disproves global warming, right? This whole global warming is now a hoax. I've seen that a couple of times on Twitter and Facebook. What's the science on that, Jason?
Well, you have to look at the long-term trend, so you can't take any year out of context. That's a problem. And so if you look at the cold now and say, oh, that somehow debunks global warming, that's a totally that's a really poor argument, because if you look at long-term trends, we're warming, and the winters are warming faster than any other time of the year. So, we can have a cold day, a cold month, but you also have to think about it in a geographic context as well, because just because it might be cold in your backyard, your neighborhood, or even in the U.S., the rest of the world has been warmer than average. So, and as I said before, the cold air outbreaks we had in earlier decades were more severe than what we're having now. So it might feel cold, it might seem cold in your backyard, but historically it's not that cold, and compared to what's going on in the rest of the world, it may be cold here, but it's a lot warmer in other places. So again, look at the long-term trends. It's undeniable that we're warming, and warming rather significantly, especially in the wintertime.
All right, Jason Samenow, weather editor for the Washington Post. Thanks so much for coming on with us, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Take care.
All right, Jason Samenow, again, follow them at WashingtonPost.com. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill. We're going to take a quick break. Got a couple of other stories I want to get into right after this. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine.
Virginia Tech.
Tucson.
Aurora.
Fort Hood. Oak Creek.
Newtown.
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 How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
Enough.
Enough. Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill. A last-minute switch up there when Bill woke up and was not feeling well. So I'm here for the rest of the show. Bill will be back on Monday, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. By the way, I had to talk about this because I was talking about this with a friend of mine the other day. You see this Castaway? It's kind of an old story now. It's been out this week. But this guy, Jose Salvador Alvarenga is this guy's name. It's this fisherman. He was on a boat, and he gets swept out to sea with one other guy. So he turns up over a year later. He's been missing for over a year. He turns up, and he's alive. The story goes, he got swept out to sea with a friend. The friend didn't survive the journey, and he stayed alive by eating fish and birds and turtle blood.
Turtle blood.
Which, it sounds delicious.
The delicacy I've heard in some areas.
Ooh, I've never had turtle. I've eaten some weird things. I've had raccoon and possum. I've never had turtle. So he shows up. I can tell you something. This is the healthiest looking castaway I've ever seen in my life.
Did he have a full beard? I think I saw a picture of that.
He had long hair, but I smell a rat. I'll tell you why. He's not sunburned at all, right? Like you'd think if the guy's just out there in the elements, he'd have a sunburn situation on some level, right?
Definitely.
He's not sunburned. He's not tanned at all, other than, what he looked like when he went out there. He's chubby. Like he actually looks a little ticklish. Like he's got some meat on his bones. Now, if you've been in a boat for, over a year, and all of a sudden you turn up and all you've been living on, is turtle blood the bacon of the sea? Because this guy is, like...
if you go on a fish diet, normally you're losing weight.
Yeah, but even still, you would imagine that if you're eating fish, you're not eating fish that often if you're out in the middle of the ocean. Third of all, how does this guy have the energy to go catching fish and catching seagulls? If he's out stranded in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, where does he get his energy?
Did he say, where was he from?
I smell a rat. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's strange.
I smell a rat.
Very strange.
They found him in the Marshall Islands finally, but here's the thing. So he went out with this guy, this other kid, And his defense of what happened is that this kid that he was with, it was like a 15-year-old boy, I think, couldn't stomach eating the raw fish and the turtle blood, and so he just slowly, starved. So he threw him overboard. I'm just telling you, I smell a rat.
Oh my goodness!
I smell a rat. In other news, this is sad. In case you thought that the Taliban weren't bad guys, now it's gotten a whole other level bad. They've kidnapped a British military dog. They've got a dog now named Colonel, and they've made a hostage video out of the dog.
A military dog?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Right? So, like, the Taliban have taken this dog. They made a video, like a hostage video, and so they're even worse than we thought, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh no!
And one other media note: everything that's old is new again. James Carville has signed on to work for Fox News.
Yeah, that's a switch.
It's a pretty decent position for him, and good for him. I mean, he's been doing a lot of stuff since CNN let him go.
The Raging Cajun.
Yeah, I know. I mean, everybody calls him the Raging Cajun. You know, he is an entertaining guy. He's still entertaining after all these years. So you'll see a lot more James Carville on Fox News. And one final thing, can I just play the clip of Jay Leno's tearful goodbye? Because last night was his last show as a host of The Tonight Show. And he got very emotional about it when he was saying goodbye. And I just love hearing people cry on TV.
This is tricky. We wouldn't be on the air without you people. Secondly, this has been the greatest 22 years of my life.
Yeah. Oh, bye, Jay. Bye. And then he got really broken up after that.
Down.
Oh. There he goes. Jimmy Fallon is going to take over. Jimmy Fallon is going to take over the Tonight Show. So no more Jay Leno on the Tonight Show. Farewell. Good riddance. I'm not a big fan, but I have to say, from a business standpoint, I mean, he was still delivering ratings, so it couldn't have been that smart for NBC. Anyway, my name is Peter Ogburn, filling in for Bill. Going to take a quick break. Back with Leigh Munsil from Politico right after this.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the area.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Thank you. And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is the Bill Press Show. Clearly, Bill is not here. I'm filling in for Bill today. My name is Peter Ogburn. Bill is under the weather, and it takes a lot to keep Bill away from the show. So I know it's killing him to not be here. So 33 minutes past the hour. Still tweeting live at BP Show, and I'm tweeting occasionally at Peter Ogburn. So follow us there and check it out. In studio with us for the rest of the hour is defense reporter for Politico, Leigh Munsil. Leigh, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Follow her online at Politico.com and on Twitter at Leigh Munsil, LEIGHMUNSIL.
Good job.
Very funny on Twitter, by the way. You're very funny. I enjoy your tweets on Twitter.
Thank you.
It's not all policy and politics stuff. There's good stuff on there.
No one would read if it was all politics and policy. That's boring.
Yeah, exactly. So the Sochi Winter Olympics are underway, and everyone's kind of on eggshells about not only are they prepared for the actual Olympics in terms of having the facilities ready, but is it going to be safe? And there have been some athletes who have said to their parents and their families, like, we don't want you traveling over here because we don't feel safe. Explain to us why there are safety concerns to begin with, I guess. Like, what's going on?
Sure. Well, there's plenty of background on this. There have been some security incidents in Russia over the past few months, kind of leading up to the games. But there's been kind of a call put out for various militant groups in Russia to disrupt the Olympics if they can. And there are a lot of historic tensions, various Chechen kind of rebel groups that have been oppressed by Russia in the past and have had issues with Russia, and so they want to disrupt the games as much as they can. So there's been a call put out for various terrorist groups to try and disrupt or cause some sort of violent attack on the games. So that's where all this comes from. Right now, the specific threats we're hearing about were a couple weeks ago we were talking about these Black Widow bombers, potential of suicide bombers, and now we're hearing about the potential for bombs in like toothpaste, that sort of thing. The
Explain
TSA.
the toothpaste bombs.
Yeah, so that came out a couple of days ago. The Department of Homeland Security said that was a concern, that they were watching luggage on planes. Obviously, planes, that's always kind of a terrorist concern. But luggage on planes and then bringing in gels, aerosols, liquids, those sorts of things could be wired with bombs, that sort of thing. And so they're keeping an eye on that. And last night, the TSA, I believe, banned those items from carry-on baggage, and they all have to be checked now going to Russia. So they're keeping an eye on that concern.
I guess every Olympics you've got a security concern. I can't think of any other event that would be that has more focus on the world stage than the Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympics are always something that there are security concerns about, and every year that's an issue, or every 4 years that's an issue.
Sure.
And so it comes up, but again, this one is a little different. Russia is not as stable as some countries that have been hosting the Olympics in the past, and so it's really kind of on them now to make sure they create a secure Olympics, and it's important for them to have this posture in the world as up to date and secure, and that's also why there's a reason that people want to disrupt the Olympics,
Right.
is they want to hurt Russia's
Right.
role in the world.
How did Russia even get these Olympics, I wonder? I mean, it seems like there's so many things working against them. To start with, it's like 20 degrees colder here than it is in Sochi right now. I didn't realize this until we got underway. It's like a coastal town in Russia.
Yeah.
They don't have any snow.
Yeah, it's kind of a
There's no
beach
snow there.
town.
They shipped all the snow in.
Supposedly the snow is great on the slopes and stuff. All the snowboarders and such have been tweeting about it, and
Yeah.
they're loving the snow that they see. But whether it's natural snow, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
How Russia got the Olympics, I mean, I've seen various kind of reports about it. It seems like Vladimir Putin really kind of pushed for this to happen. This is his project. This is his baby. He used kind of all the influence he had to be able to put on an Olympics in Russia and use that to launch, modern Russia into the world's consciousness.
That's interesting. It doesn't have anything to do with corruption, I'm sure, not in the Olympic Games.
Well, I don't know about that. You probably know more about that than I do.
I want to play a couple of clips because there are some American athletes who are worried about it and other Olympic athletes that aren't so worried about it. Hey, I want to start with Scott Blackman, the CEO of the U.S. Olympic Committee, and he talks about what risk is going on over there.
It's a risk that we try to minimize, that we try to mitigate, but it's not going to change the fact that the United States is going to show up and compete in these games and that their fans will be here.
So, I mean, what can the United States even do in this situation? I mean, do we have anything to do with any of the security interests in Russia, or is it just basically from getting here, point A, to there, point B, sort of minimizing what we can?
Yeah, well, we can do as much as Russia lets us do to keep the Olympics safe.
Color me unoptimistic.
Well, it's really a difficult relationship. It's a difficult interaction with Russia, and so we've volunteered as much help as they are willing to take. It's unclear what specifically the role of the U.S. is on the ground. I would imagine they're not making all of that public. We know that Russia has a bunch of security forces, almost 40,000 security forces on the ground in Sochi, protecting the venues, protecting the games, and the real concerns are kind of outside of the specific Olympic venues. It's transportation to and from the games, or surrounding areas around Sochi that are the big concern. So the U.S. role, though, we know that we have some battleships in the area to evacuate American citizens. Yeah,
it just got real. Okay.
Well, it would be an evacuation scenario.
Sure,
it wouldn't be a wartime scenario. But the U.S. has the ships in place to evacuate citizens if we need to, and if it came to an incident of an attack, we would be as involved as Russia would allow us to be.
One of the things that I think is so interesting about the Olympics in general is, like, while Sochi might be the host city, it's miles and miles and miles for some of these competitions outside of Sochi. I mean, not that we're ever going to get an Olympics in Washington, D.C., but it would be the equivalent of having, like, the Olympics in Washington, D.C., and some of the events would take place as far away as Richmond, Virginia. It's 2 or 3 hours away. So to think that you'd be able to have all of that area covered is kind of a scary thought, especially some of the events, like the cross-country skiing, where they're just sort of out in the middle of nowhere for part of it.
Yeah.
That's a little scary. Who is this guy's a snowboarder, right? Nick Baumgartner?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's a snowboarder for the U.S.
By the way, I can name what's that one? Oh God, no. Oh, the red-haired guy. Sean White.
Sean, yeah.
Sean White,
Yeah.
the snowboarder. I can name him, and then this Bodie Miller character, which I don't know. All I know from him is his off-the-snow exploits, right? Like he's kind of a punk that way. But this Nick Baumgartner, he's not worried at all. Go ahead.
The U.S. isn't going to let anything happen to us, and we got some pretty good backing everywhere.
Yeah, the U.S. isn't going to let anything happen to us.
On Russian soil.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, too. I just read CNN this morning had kind of a wrap-up story about the situation with security right now. And they said that the ski and snowboard team, the U.S. ski and snowboard team, had hired its own private security. So maybe he feels a little better than the average athlete.
Good point.
Perhaps.
I didn't say that.
But I hadn't
sure
heard that either. So that's fairly new information that they're, at least the U.S. team is taking it seriously and kind of looking at their own security.
You mentioned the warships. Heaven forbid we have a situation where there is a terrorist attack. What then? Like, do the Olympics go on? Do they just stop? I mean, I'm trying to think of what happened in Atlanta when the bomb went off. I think they went on, but yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to know just how they handle that.
Yeah, well, ideally, it won't get anywhere near that situation.
Yeah.
That they will be able to head off threats. Dianne Feinstein said, the head of the Intelligence Committee on the Senate side, yesterday that she would go if she had a kid in the games, but she doesn't have a kid in the games. And so she obviously, the security concerns are serious, but she said that the opposition is dogged, that was the word that she used, that they're really like looking at these threats seriously. They're trying to find actual specific threats and stop them before they happen. But if it came to the event of an actual attack, I would imagine evacuation, depending on what it is, depending on how secure the rest of the games are known to be, evacuation would probably be part of it. And I would imagine they would try to finish the games. They don't want to just leave and be done, because obviously that would be the intention of a terrorist attack in the first place, would be to completely disrupt the games and make them not allowed to continue. So,
what else has Congress done with regards to the games? I mean, have they said anything or looked at all into what the situation over there?
They've been looking at it, absolutely. The Intelligence Committees, specifically Foreign Affairs, Homeland Security, those sorts of things. They've been paying attention to the Olympics, and again, trying to be as involved as Russia will allow them to be, or as the U.S. Congress actually has a role in that sort of situation. But yeah, they've been looking at the security concerns, and they've been going on all the TV shows talking about what the security situation is. So that's what I've been seeing as far as the role of Congress at this point. I actually looked into that this week to try and find out if there were any lawmakers that were actually going. Wasn't able to find any, but also there just could be ones. There are a lot of people in Congress, so
it's kind of telling, though. I mean, you'd think that someone would at least go as a representation, right?
Yeah, well, and they're not part of the official delegation. The official delegation is headed up by former Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano and some other people that the president appointed to go, but no members of Congress in that delegation.
That's interesting. All right, it's about 44 minutes past the hour. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill. I have Leigh Munsil, defense reporter for Politico, in studio. We're going to take a quick break. Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377 if you have any concerns about the Sochi Winter Olympics, which are underway. Take a quick break. We'll be right back.
On your radio, on TV, and online, this is The Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
Eye cursor in between the R and the E. Racing dog, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 47 minutes past the hour on this Friday, February 7th. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Bill should be back on Monday. I think he'll be fine. He's just resting up. He doesn't feel so hot today. So I'm sitting in, and I brought in Leigh Munsil, defense reporter for Politico, to sit in with me. Good morning, Leigh.
Good morning.
Follow her on Twitter at Leigh Munsil and online at Politico.com. Interesting note on the Sochi Olympics. So Google has put up a rainbow logo emblem with the Winter Olympic sports on there, and they have up as part of the Olympic Charter. Quote, "The practice of sport is a human right. Every individual must have the possibility of practicing sport without discrimination of any kind, and in the Olympic spirit, which requires mutual understanding with a spirit of friendship, solidarity, and fair play." A clear jab at the laws against gays and homosexuals in Russia. I think it's fascinating that one of the bands performing at the opening ceremonies tonight in Sochi is the band Tattoo. T-A-T-U, which if you don't know is a lesbian pop duo. But there are no gays in Sochi. But they're performing it. It's so weird to me. I want to follow up on something that you touched on in the last segment, because you were talking about how this is Russia's big moment to sort of solidify themselves as a world power and to be back at a place that they had been before. They don't want our help with that at all. They want to do this all on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with these security concerns, you see that it's not what they want for the U.S. to come in and save the day or some other nations to come in and save the day because this is their Olympics. This is what they've been working for so long. And especially Putin has spent a lot of time and a ton of money. It's the most expensive Olympics by a lot.
By a mile.
I think 4 times past Beijing in that it's about, I think, $50 billion. Lot of money that they spent to try and get Sochi ready for these Olympics. And so, yeah, Russia is trying to solidify its place as a world power. It's trying to be seen as a modern nation, and they didn't really help with their accommodations. It hasn't been going very well so far. Obviously the various hotels for media. And the worst thing you can do to start off the Olympics on the right note is to put a bunch of whiny media in a hotel that they don't like, because they're going to tweet about it.
Yeah,
and post
especially
pictures.
now.
Yeah, and the water was kind of yellowish brown in various places, and some places didn't have shower curtains and those sorts of things. And so all of that information is now coming out as the Olympics are just getting underway, and is kind of creating, mothballing into this, storyline about Russia not being ready and not being modern, and absolutely what President Putin did not want to be the story of the games right as it was about to start. So it's really not going as well as had hoped at the beginning, and they're going to try and recover once the actual games get underway.
You know, the dirty little secret about the Olympics in general is that they spend all this money on all these facilities and these upgrades and building brand new gigantic stadiums. And then the Olympics are over, and you know what? Nobody goes back there. They don't get used.
Yeah.
They don't get used. So he's spending $50 billion to build a Winter Olympics in a place where there is not much winter. Like, who's going to go back there?
Yeah,
they're not going to go back.
Well, the key after then is tourism. You try to keep it going. You try to have some sort of use for those sorts of facilities. But actually, I played softball when I was a kid, and I went to Salt Lake City after Salt Lake City had the Olympics, and we would go up to Park City, which is up in the mountains. As you said, it was like away by at least 30 minutes from actual Salt Lake City where the games were, and they had the ski jump was out there.
Okay.
So it was still out there. I was there in the summer. There wasn't a lot of snow, but people weren't using it, obviously. You could spend a lot of money to do, I think, like some sort of fake luge situation where you could ride around the track.
I would totally do that.
Which seemed really cool. But you could visit the Olympic facility after it wasn't being used anymore. But so it's still there. But again, it's kind of funny. You drive through the city and you look up and you can see the ski jump out there, and
cool.
It still has like the branding of the Olympics on it and all of that sort of thing. So the facilities continue to exist, but it kind of becomes a ghost town after the Olympics leave.
Best Winter Olympic sport. Quick poll. Elisa, what's your favorite Winter Olympic sport in the Olympics?
I'd have to say snowboarding, but then my roots are in Canada, so I can't cripple the curling team. I have to like them.
Go curling. All right. What's your favorite?
Curling or hockey. I kind of like hockey. It depends.
Oh yeah.
The correct answer is luge. Luge is the king of the Winter Olympic sport.
No bobsled?
Bobsled is like the rich man's luge. You know what I mean? Because it's like a big luge. Luge, you just go at it. I am going to watch some of the Winter Olympics. I mean, I'm a lot less excited about it than I would be the Summer Olympics, but I'll be there. I'll check it out. All right, Leigh Munsil from Politico, defense reporter. Follow her on Twitter at Leigh Munsil, LeighMunsil. Very funny stuff on Twitter, along with actual analysis and things like that. So follow her there and online at Politico.com. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It's the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill. Quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
In the early 20th century, the war to end all wars didn't end war at all. It stoked the fires of change. A traumatized world was ripe for change. The world was ready for modernism. Modernists wanted to forget history, or at least reinterpret it. More than just a style, modernism applied to virtually all forms of creative expression. Innovative artists like Picasso, Escher, Dali, they all started looking at their world differently. Other artists tried painting light itself. These were the Impressionists. Surrealists went a bit further. We had entered the age of the isms: cubism, symbolism, futurism, constructivism. All these new modern ways of looking at the world blew people away. When it came to architecture, modernists were intrigued by emerging technology. Concrete, glass and steel featured heavily in their buildings. Modernists believed that they could design a better society. Ornamental indulgence was considered a frivolous waste of effort. They thought function should always dictate form, and that mankind's intelligence, creativity and capability for radical thinking should be celebrated. Take the Russian inventor Georgy Krutikov. He suggested an idea for a city held aloft by electrical currents. This at a time when there was barely enough wattage to keep the lights on. Not everything they designed was a resounding success. But you could argue modernism was the single most influential movement of the 20th century. From house music to housewares, tables and chairs to graphic design, all have been created by the aesthetics and ideas of modernism.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today for one more hour. What's the president up to today? Well, at 9:45, President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden will receive the presidential daily briefing, which should be interesting considering Biden's comments on CNN this morning, that he says he doesn't really see any reason why he wouldn't run for president in 2016.
Those are strong words right there.
I mean, he didn't say he's running, but he certainly didn't say that he wasn't running. So they may have some stuff to talk about there. That'll be very interesting. Not long after that, 10:30, the president leaves to head to Andrews Air Force Base. He is on the road to Michigan today. He's touring Michigan Biotechnology Institute around 12:45, and he's going to deliver some comments at Michigan State University in East Lansing. He's heading back home, should be back at 4:30. Oh, you know what? That's going to really mess with his commute home. 4:30, traffic here on the Beltway? Gosh, that's going to be rough.
Oh, yeah. That's not the time to be there.
I don't think the president has a problem slicing through that traffic. Call me crazy.
Maybe.
I don't think he has a problem slicing through the traffic. I mean, obviously, he takes a helicopter, lands back on the South Lawn. So there you go. No press briefing today. Jay Carney is going to gaggle on Air Force One, so I don't think you're going to see a lot of news coming out of that. We'll have the president's comments of whatever he says in Michigan on Monday's show. Big hour coming up next. We're going to be talking to Paul Billings from the American Lung Association and Rich Galen, Republican strategist. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill. We'll be back.
This is the Bill Press Show. Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today on this Friday, finally Friday edition of The Bill Press Show, Friday, February 7th. Thank you all so much for tuning in, either on your favorite progressive radio station or on TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV. We're streaming live video. And if you stream live video right there, right now, you will see that my in-studio guest is Senior Vice President for Advocacy and Education from the American Lung Association, Paul Billings. Paul, good morning. Thank you for coming in.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
I appreciate you coming on with the B team.
Hey.
We had to call an audible this morning. Bill's sick. He's under the weather. And he called. He gave me a lead time of about an hour this morning and said, can't do it.
Well,
Can't do it.
When you're sick, you're at the lung association, you want people to get healthy, not transmit disease, so we're all for that.
We're happy he's not here transmitting. Exactly. Running the board for us today is Elisa Murphy. Elisa, good morning. Happy Friday.
Good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Any big plans for the weekend?
Not yet. I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street, so I was thinking I might take that plunge, but we might be getting some snow, so who knows?
That movie is a commitment. 3 hours.
I know.
3 hours. It's a good movie.
Long day.
That's a long movie. If you call 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377, you will talk to Alicia Cruz, screening calls and keeping us live on the video stream. The hardest working man in show business, Cyprian Bolding, right there, making sure we are live. So it's a big weekend for music fans. It's the 50th anniversary of the Beatles' first performance at the Ed Sullivan Theater in New York. That's going to be on Sunday, February 9th. Today is the day that they actually landed in the United States for the first time, right? To start the big Beatlemania, right? So what's the deal? We have that Ringo Starr clip, right? Let's play the very first Ringo Starr clip that you played, Elisa.
We were coming to America, it was great. And we weren't sure because George had been a couple of months before and he was going into records so soon. We got the Beatles, no one had heard of us. So when he came back to England, he said, oh, it's going to be hard, they don't know us. But by the time we got there, and you can't plan it, we had a number one.
There you go. Yeah, I like that story. Hey, give the one about the fan mail, because now, so Ringo, if you send Ringo Starr fan mail, he used to reply to you. Like, that was one of the best or worst kept secrets, I guess, is if you wrote him a fan letter, he would write you back. He got tired of it, and a couple years ago, he put out this video that I just think is so funny.
This is a serious message to everybody watching my update right now. Peace and love, peace and love. I want to tell you, please, after the 20th of October, do not send fan mail to any address that you have. Nothing will be signed after the 20th of October. If that has a date on the envelope, it's going to be tossed. I'm warning you with peace and love, but I have too much to do. So no more fan mail. Thank you, and no objects to be signed. Nothing. Anyway, peace and love, peace and love.
I'm warning you with peace and love.
Anyway, peace and love, peace and love. All right. So there you go. Happy anniversary to the Beatles. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more stuff over the weekend of anniversary celebrations. And in fact, we got Michael Tomasky in next week, who wrote a book about the Beatles, because their very first actual concert was here in Washington, D.C. So he's got a book about that. So let's jump right into the news of the day, because one of the more fascinating stories that I've seen so far this year is the fact that CVS has said that they are going to end tobacco sales. And that is cigarettes, cigars. They're getting rid of tobacco sales. What does that mean to illnesses like lung cancer? Paul Billings from the American Lung Association. What does that mean? How big of a win is that in the fight?
It's a big win, and the fact that the public got so strongly behind CVS when they made this announcement really is encouraging to the Lung Association and all our allies who've been fighting the tobacco industry and fighting this fight for more than 50 years. Cigarettes are linked to lung cancer, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, heart disease, stroke. You just can't underestimate the toll of tobacco. 480,000 premature deaths every year are caused by cigarettes in this country. So that's a huge, huge burden on the American people and a lot of misery for a lot of families. So for CVS to step forward and say, we're a health company and we're not going to sell these products that kill half of their users when used as intended, it's a huge win for the public.
The thing that I find so fascinating about this story is that, you could have regulations put in place, and I think they're great. You could have warnings put in place, and I think that's great. But the fact that a company as big as CVS said, you know what, we realize that we're making nearly $2 billion off of tobacco sales, and we're good. We're going to walk away from that money. We're going to leave that money on the table. We don't have to have that because we want people to be healthier. I find that to be amazing.
It is truly an act of corporate courage, and we've seen very little of that.
You really have, especially from the tobacco industry.
And the tobacco space. There's no more cynical industry than the tobacco industry. But I think what CVS decided was they were going to be a health company, and it was inconsistent with curing disease and preventing disease to propagate disease. And so they said, enough's enough. We're going to move forward on a healthy path. And we think all retailers should follow them. Target doesn't sell cigarettes. Yeah. Lots of small community pharmacies don't sell cigarettes. We think the entire, all retailers, grocery stores, big box retailers, should follow this lead.
This resonated around the country. It even reached the White House. The White House had plenty to say about it. Let me play that clip of Jay Carney at the White House press brief. I think this was on Wednesday.
The president is, like a reformed smoker, but, and I think he recognizes, like everyone who's quit recognizes, it's not an easy thing to do, but it's the right thing to do for your own health, for your family, and for the nation's health.
Carney even drove home the point that he used to buy his cigarettes from CVS. Like, that was his neighborhood pharmacy, and he would go there and buy his cigarettes from CVS, which is, it really makes it, really drives it home. So, here you have a president who has struggled with cigarettes, right? He says it's been a long time since he's had one, but he's kicked the habit, allegedly, as he says. what's next, I guess? Because you've got the White House that clearly knows that they have to do something with this. They've put out a statement. They commented on it. They know that it's a good thing. So what's next? What's the legislative action?
Well, I'm not sure there's legislative action needed, but I think there's a lot of things that can happen regulatorily. There are regulations pending at the White House right now to expand the FDA regulatory authority over other tobacco products, cigars, little cigars, e-cigarettes. Back in 2009, we passed bipartisan legislation with the overwhelming majority of the president signed that regulated tobacco products at the FDA. It was a 15-year struggle. Finally got that passed, but there are a lot of rules that are in the pipeline that need to move forward. Also, under the Affordable Care Act, provides coverage for tobacco cessation for the first time. But the White House hasn't defined what that coverage is. So
I was going to say, explain that. What?
So, under the Affordable Care Act, preventive services that are deemed to be effective by something called the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force says if these things work, they should be covered without copay or barrier, give essentially full access for the people, for the public. Tobacco cessation works. It provides tremendous benefits, so it's graded as effective by the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force. But what happens is that then the Affordable Care Act needs to be implemented and define what that benefit is. And we want a comprehensive benefit which follows the guidelines. So access to all 7 FDA-approved medications and 3 forms of counseling, individual, group, and telephone counseling. So we know quitting smoking is hard. At the American Lung Association, we've helped millions of people quit smoking. It's a really powerful addiction. And so we want to give people all the tools available to them and as much opportunity to quit as they can. We know 7 out of 10 people who smoke want to quit, but it's really hard and takes many attempts. So we want to provide that environment and all of that support they can to quit smoking.
Taking your calls at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. I'd love to hear from you all about what you think about CVS dropping tobacco products and how you think that's going to play into the overall war on tobacco, as I'm calling it. You mentioned e-cigarettes there. I want to talk a little bit about e-cigarettes because I know some people who smoke e-cigarettes, and I'll ask them, what's the deal with e-cigarettes? And I can never get a straight answer of, what is in an e-cigarette? How does it work? And I always hear water vapor. But it's not just that, right? I mean, what's the deal?
Yeah, we don't really know exactly what's in e-cigarettes.
Oh, good. Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
There are more than 250 different varieties, according to one study. The FDA did some initial analysis a few years ago and found that there were carcinogens and the same chemical that's in antifreeze in e-cigarettes. There are studies that talk about the secondhand emissions of e-cigarettes. So what FDA needs to do is step forward and regulate these products. We need to understand what's in them. We have companies making all kinds of outrageous health claims, which they should not be allowed to do, and FDA should crack down on that. And they also make them in flavors like Captain Crunch and Gummy Bear and Cotton Candy. So they're clearly marketing and targeting kids. And CDC found that in 1 year, e-cigarette use among kids has doubled. So we got a problem out there, and we need to step forward and address it.
It seems like I don't think a lot of people are taking the e-cigarette thing seriously. I think that they look at it almost like candy cigarettes, like it's not a real issue. But to hear that and to know what's in it, or I guess to not know what's in it, is so scary. I think, and I'm surprised that we're not hearing more about it.
Well, I think a lot of people are hoping, looking for a panacea to this problem. And certainly at the Lung Association, we've been fighting the tobacco industry for a long time, and we know what works. Raising tobacco taxes, comprehensive smoke-free air laws, and comprehensive funding of prevention, education, and cessation programs. That's what works. And hoping that there's some magic out there, I think, is fantasy. What we really need to do is move forward with the steps that we know work. It's hard, but we need to move forward with those.
It is truly amazing. I was having this conversation with someone the other day. Like, it wasn't that long ago that there were non-smoking and smoking sections in restaurants.
There still are in parts of the country. We only have 28 states that have comprehensive smoke-free air laws.
Wow.
So, so we still have a ways to go.
I'm trying to think of the last time I walked into somewhere that actually still had cigarette smoke in a restaurant. But yeah, I mean, look, I think it's a great thing. And to be perfectly honest, I was one of the people who said, let the restaurants decide if that's what they want to do. But I have to tell you, now that it's happened in a lot of states, I love it. I love it. I think it's such a good thing.
Well, when I first started doing this work, we were still getting smoking off airplanes. Somehow there was this magic barrier on row 18 that all of a sudden the smoke didn't penetrate.
Smoke will come back here.
And when I was a kid, they used to give free cigarettes with the meals on the planes.
Whoa.
So,
talk a little bit about the most recent science on smoking, because I think that this generation, whether they follow the science, I mean, this generation was brought up knowing cigarettes are really, really bad for you, right? Like you could say before this, there might have been some ignorance on the issue, or started smoking when they were younger, when they didn't realize it was so bad. But how bad are cigarettes?
Well, one of the things we know is that I think there is strong awareness of what the health risks are, but still, nearly 1,000 kids start smoking every day. Mm-hmm. So actually, earlier this week, the FDA launched a new campaign targeting kids. And it's not the threat of heart disease or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease 10, 20, 30, 50 years down the road that speaks to the teens. So their campaign is really focusing on tooth loss and wrinkles and bad breath and those kinds of things that are impactful to teens. But cigarettes really are terrible. 480,000 premature deaths are caused each year by tobacco use, according to the latest Surgeon General's report. And virtually every system of the body is impacted negatively by tobacco use. So we talk a lot about lung cancer and COPD and heart disease, but it's also stroke. In fact, the new Surgeon General's report linked it to diabetes and tuberculosis. So that there are challenges for the body if you smoke across the whole range of your systems, and there really is probably nothing more terrible you can do to yourself than protect your health more than smoking cigarettes.
All right, 20 minutes past the hour. We're going to take a quick break. Keep the calls coming. I see some rolling in at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. My name is Peter Ogburn. I have Paul Billings from the American Lung Association in studio with me for another segment. Take a quick break. We'll be right back. Our phone number is 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377.
This is the Bill Press Show. On your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. 25 minutes past the hour, Friday, February 7th. I have Paul Billings in studio with the American Lung Association. You can follow them on Twitter at Lung Association, and online at lung.org. And Paul, you're on Twitter as well, aren't you?
Yeah, Billings PG.
Billings PG. Follow Paul at Billings PG on Twitter. Lots of good stuff this morning about the CVS decision to not sell tobacco products anymore. That's going to take place. It's effective
October 1.
October 1. Okay, so they got some time to get them all out. But like we said, they're giving up. They're walking away from $2 billion worth of their inventory. That's what they sell each year in cigarettes and tobacco products. Taking your calls on this at 866-55-PRESS. Let's go to Jesus in Madison, Wisconsin. Jesus, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. What's your question?
Well, it's more of a comment, but I applaud that CVS is not selling tobacco products anymore, and they're walking away from $2 billion. But what are they going to be gaining from the ACA, and they have the 1-minute clinic, and I hear they're going to be, making their money that way instead of, from selling tobacco products. I wanted to get your comments on that.
Well, I think CVS is positioning themselves to be a healthcare delivery company. They've been providing pharmacy services for many years, and they do have these minute clinics where folks can see a nurse practitioner and get diagnosed and get treated. And we hope that people who are wanting to quit smoking will also go into the minute clinics and talk to their pharmacist or the nurse and get help quitting smoking.
Yeah. Good answer. Good question. So you mentioned when I was talking about restaurants that have banned smoking, you said there were 28 states.
We have 28 states, and D.C. have comprehensive smoke-free air laws across the country. But I mean, 22 states still don't. Now, there are individual companies and counties and cities that have passed ordinances, but still we have some very big states that don't have comprehensive laws, like Texas.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about what else is going on at the state level when we look at e-cigarettes, we look at tobacco laws. What's going on there?
Well, we see a wide gap, a wide disparity. So we have places like New York, which tax cigarettes at over $4 a pack, have a comprehensive smoke-free air law, and really made tremendous strides at cutting adult and kids smoking rates. But then we see the other side of the coin. We have states like Missouri with a tobacco tax at 17 cents a pack.
Wait a minute. Wait. So New York, it's
$4.35.
$4.35 per pack
of tax.
And in Missouri,
17 cents. And we know that for every 10% increase in the price of a pack of cigarettes, kids' consumption drops by 7%.
Really?
So
that's fascinating statistics.
So what we know is that the states that have done a good job have seen their smoking rates drop, and also their health costs drop, and a healthier, happier population. And hey, dads get to walk daughters down the aisle, grandparents get to watch kids graduate, all those great things in life.
True.
And these other states, we see much higher smoking rates, much more death, disease, and misery, much higher youth smoking rates. We know what causes this problem. We know how to solve it. What's missing in places like Missouri is political will and leadership. And so we're states that have it, see the benefits, and unfortunately in far too many states like Missouri, they don't.
Good stuff. Paul Billings from the American Lung Association, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
This is the Bill Press Show. On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today, Friday, February 7th. I'm sitting in for Bill today. So I brought in some people to help me talk about the news.
And they didn't show up, so you got
They didn't show up, so I've got from Mullings.com, Republican strategist Rich Galen is in studio. Rich, thank you for coming on with the JV team.
No, not at all. I'm glad we got the good guys off the bench.
And we brought in, because it's a special occasion, we brought in the mayor of Capitol Hill himself. Woody is in studio.
Greetings.
Hi, Woody. Thank you for coming in.
Oh, my personal pleasure.
So, Elisa, we did our conference call with Bill yesterday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Didn't you notice there was some noise in the background when we were talking to Bill? Like there was sounded like a party atmosphere.
It did sound kind of like
Buffett
that.
Some Jimmy Buffett. I heard some glasses clinking, and I thought, I wonder where Bill is. And then lo and behold, Bill
has the Friday flu.
He's got the Friday flu.
The Friday flu.
He calls me up this morning and said, "I don't feel good. I can't do." Yeah.
It's like that commercial where the guy he's looking for help to move. Oh, man. Sorry, I'm sick, and he's on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's Bill. That's Bill. So he's. I'm sure he'll feel better by Monday. Whatever hangover he has, he'll cure. No. Look, it honestly, I've seen Bill come in and do this show very, very sick. So I'm sure.
And I've seen you come in and do it very, very hungover. So.
Yeah, for the past 2.5 hours. That's what happens when you think you have a host to host the show.
I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah. During the break, you'll see me over in the corner. Bring me some Gatorade. Yeah, and a cheeseburger, please. Let's start with the news, because we just had the new unemployment numbers come out. 113,000 new jobs added in January. The unemployment rate stays at 6.6%. That is a smaller number than they were looking.
I think they were looking at 170,000 or so, but it's because of Obamacare.
Is it?
Yeah, no, everything is. I mean, when I'm stuck in traffic, damn Obamacare. Everything's Obama. It's easy.
Not Benghazi? It's Obamacare?
Everything.
Okay. Okay.
We don't win any gold medals. It's Obamacare.
Obamacare. What does this mean? I mean, is this finally going to give Romney the surge he needs to beat Obama?
Yeah, to win Ohio.
Yeah, he's finally going to come through. I think he's finally going to come through.
When we're not the TVs are on so we can see the numbers scroll. But I suspect it has more to do with the weather than anything else. This has been a very, very tough January, especially in the retail sector and any place where people have to walk into, whether it's a Costco or a McDonald's. People just said, I'm not going, I'll stay. I'll have this soup that's been on the shelf for 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll talk about that more on Monday. We'll keep an eye on the numbers as they continue to come out all throughout the day. So I want to start with some politics stuff. Immigration. Because both John Boehner and Mitch McConnell threw some cold water on immigration reform. And so something that I've been saying for a long time is immigration reform is kind of like going to the gym. Everyone knows you need to go to the gym, but only a very disciplined few can actually make it happen. So what's the next step for the GOP now in terms of getting this done? Or is it all on them?
I think it's probably all on them now. I think I haven't... Just to make sure everybody understands, I do not talk to John Boehner.
Okay,
every day.
You don't have the direct line?
He doesn't ask me what I think he should do. But what it sounds like to me is that the Tea Party wing just caused enough trouble to say we're not going to be in favor of any kind of immigration reform unless enforcement is stepped up to stop 100% of the people coming across all the borders all the time, which can't happen. And on the other side, I don't think there was any plan for Nancy Pelosi to want to help because they don't want to give Republicans a win going into the midterm elections with the base Hispanic vote. So there really was one guy that wanted to do this. It was John Boehner.
Yeah.
And you need 217 more votes.
Hey, can
to
you
get
grab
it done.
that Nancy Pelosi clip, Elisa? Because I want to play that, what Nancy Pelosi had some advice for John Boehner yesterday, which I'm sure he really
Yeah,
appreciates.
he needs that.
Yeah, here's Nancy Pelosi.
I have faith in him and the good person that he is, and it's tough. It's tough, but I had to take some really tough votes when I was Speaker, and what we did is
Yeah,
let
look what
people
happened to
vote
her.
the way they wanted to vote, and making sure we had one vehicle that would get the job done.
Oh, that's the most condescending
Isn't it?
tone I've
Isn't
ever
it?
heard.
If that's not a redundancy, I don't know what is. Nancy Pelosi condescending. Yeah.
What?
But let me be serious just for a second. I think this is an example of what's wrong with everything. There is a religiosity, if there's such a word, in politics now, and I don't mean belief in God. I mean that if you and I are both, let's say Democrats, so I don't raise the hackles on your neck, you demand that, and Republicans are the same way though. But if you demand that I agree with every single semicolon of what you agree with, or else I'm a heretic.
Yeah.
And that's why we have 78 branches of Protestantism. Somebody didn't agree with the way somebody interpreted Ecclesiastes, and they went off and started their own church. And that's what's happening, especially with the Republican Party now. So it's not good for the system. It certainly isn't good for the country. But my readers on Mullings.com, they now routinely accuse me of being what's called a rhino, a Republican in name only. Actually, in the column yesterday morning, I found and I can't pronounce it, but the Latin name for the rhinoceros that is actually called the northern white rhinoceros. So it's a big long Latin name, but I'm going to call myself. I may get T-shirts.
Well, but one of the things that she mentioned, just to get to the crux, to cut through the condescension in it, of why not just put it out there for a vote and see what happens? And that's a big criticism that a lot of people put in front of Boehner. There are all these things that he just put up for a vote, and he won't. Is that to protect himself or to protect the party?
Well, it's to protect the party. You don't want to give the opponent, the general election opponent, or in many cases a primary opponent, something to attack your guy on. And so, I mean, that happens all the time. And the difference, of course, between the Senate and the House is that if you need 218 votes to have an absolute majority. If I have 218 members and you have 15 members, or whatever the number is, I own everything. It's not like the Senate where there's some things that you need 51, some things you need 60. You can filibuster for. I mean, I own everything, including the Rules Committee that says we're going to debate this for 15 minutes each side with 2 amendments, and that's it. Take it or leave it. And so you own the whole thing. And both sides do this. I mean, Republicans learned how to do this by being in the minority for 40 straight years.
Right.
So they learned it. They learned their lesson well. It's the whole Stockholm syndrome. They fell in love with their captors.
I want to bring up a story that we talked about earlier in the day that I just absolutely love. So the creator of Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels, gave an interview to the Vulture blog with New York Magazine. And he said that Republicans can take a joke better than Democrats. He says that Democrats take everything too personally and that Republicans overall have a better sense of humor. I actually agree with that.
Well, we have more practice in being made fun of. So.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just raw practice. I don't know about that. Who knows? I mean, that's his business, so I suspect he knows that he gets the emails, in real time, the tweets in real time when SNL is on, and I'm sure if they take... I remember, I don't know if you went to, I think it was last year's Gridiron Dinner here in Washington. There was not a single spoof about Barack Obama. He wasn't there. But there was not a single song about him, not a joke about him, nothing. It was like there was no president. It must have been 2012 because they did a lot of Dogs on Cars songs.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And I laughed. I thought it was. I'm not sure Romney would have, but I did.
I spent a lot of time in more conservative radio before I worked with Bill. It was several years, and I've worked with Bill for several years. And one of the things that I've noticed between the customers, the listeners to each side of the aisle, is that Democrats tend to believe what they feel so strongly that they have to make you feel that exact same way. Whereas Republicans, a lot of times, just say, look, whatever. This is how I feel, and it's not like this pounding of trying to convince somebody that they're wrong.
Well, no, I believe conservatives believe liberals are wrong.
Yes.
They just don't care if you believe.
That's what I guess that's what
I'm right.
You just still
You're
right.
wrong.
Yes.
You're an idiot for believing this, and that is the crux of the entertainment value of most of talk radio.
That's exactly right.
Well said. Very well said. Whereas a lot of Democrats, I think, feel like they can win the argument with logic and reason.
But Woody, this is your business. So tell me why liberal talk radio doesn't work. You would think. If the
well,
good morning,
you just
everyone.
open the Pandora's box there. I happen to author a paper on that called "The Structural Imbalance of Political Talk Radio."
Yeah, go ahead.
And essentially, what we've discovered through just real research and data is that if a radio station is owned by a woman, a minority, or locally owned, they are statistically more likely to allow progressive voices on the air. However, if a radio station is owned by a larger corporation, they are statistically less likely to allow a progressive voice on the air. So there is something inherent in the way media consolidation has proliferated, especially in talk radio, that has created a stumbling block. We've had some very successful, very talented talk radio hosts like Bill Press, like Ed Schultz. These are shows that I've started, I watch grow, and do fabulously well when they get the opportunity. But there are gatekeepers. And, to be fair, conservative talk radio got a huge head start on progressive talk radio, and you're going to format a station and you're going to go with what works. And Rush Limbaugh and his wannabes were working and making money. We're seeing a big change now, though, because you have two monolithic company. Well, monolithic doesn't make sense if there's two of them, right?
A duopoly. That's called a duopoly. I'm here to help you.
I need all the help I can get. So you've got two large companies.
This is good, though. This is good. Like, this is points what I was talking about.
And Peter can sit back and not have to do any more work. So you have
Nurse's hangover.
You have two huge companies, Cumulus and Clear Channel, right now that are going at it hammer and tongs in all these markets. And basically, Clear Channel owns a network called Premiere. That's Rush and Hannity and those shows. And Clear Channel, and Cumulus is tossing them off those stations because they don't want to give money to Clear Channel. So Clear Channel and Cumulus are battling hammer and tongs, and they're both trying to put out the most conservative talk radio that they can. Cumulus is responsible now for syndicating Herman Cain, and they're bringing out all these other, and they're taking Dennis Miller and putting him on all of their stations. So they both are promoting a conservative talk lineup, and they're doing it for business reasons, not necessarily for a political personal agenda. But the fact is, there is an obligation that people don't like to admit with the public airwaves. The bandwidth here, right? When this stuff gets auctioned off, the spectrum gets auctioned off, it's worth gazillions of dollars. How much do these large billion-dollar corporations for the bandwidth that they use, how much do they pay?
Zero.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a crime.
I came out of radio. I started a little class 4 radio station in Marietta, Ohio.
Is that right?
45750. Back in those days, 1,000 watts a day, 250 watts at night. At sundown, the sheriff's cars had more power in their in their radios at night than we had.
Oh no,
that's great.
That's absolutely true.
I didn't realize that. All right, we have to take a quick break. 46 minutes past the hour. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. I have Rich Galen from Mullings.com, which you can find out more about him there and follow him on Twitter. Very funny follow on Twitter, an interesting follow at Rich Galen, Galen. And then we've got Woody.
Thanks.
The mayor of Capitol Hill.
That's right.
You're not on Twitter.
No, I'm a little analog. I do write little short pithy notes and then I post them up on a bulletin board.
On the front window of his house. It's very
Analog
If
Twitter.
you drive by slowly, you just howl.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. It's the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. You can follow me on Twitter at Peter Ogburn. You can also follow the show at BP Show. Brought in some friends to help carry out the rest of the hour. From Mullings.com, Rich Galen. Good morning, Rich.
Good to see you.
Follow him on Twitter at Rich Galen, Galen. And Woody, the mayor of Capitol Hill.
Drive by my house to see my postings.
That's it. Yes. Ranter, street ranter. Woody is in studio with us. So,
and when it's time for him to rant because the mothers with young children come in right now.
Here it comes.
Get in the house.
Stranger danger. Stranger danger.
This morning on CNN, they had an exclusive with Vice President Joe Biden. Kate Baldwin sat down with him, and Joe Biden said he's going to make a decision as to whether or not he's going to run for president in 2016 by summer of next year. So we're like a year and a half away. Okay, here's the quote that Biden said, though, and this is very telling, I think. He says, quote, "There's no obvious reason for me why I think I should not run. For me, the decision to run or not run is going to be determined by me as to whether I am the best qualified person to focus on the few things I've spent my whole life on." In other words, right now, he sees no reason why he won't run for president.
Well, I think the more telling part of that quote is, I've met the vice president. I like him very much. But what he said was, if I think I'm the best person qualified, I will run. I guarantee you, Joe Biden thinks he's the best qualified person to do anything.
Exactly.
I think it's interesting. How old is Biden?
That's late 60s,
yeah,
right?
Let's say he's 7, and Hillary's 67. So your two top candidates are 137 years old. That's looking to the future, boy. Let's go get that youth vote.
Well,
isn't that why Republicans have vice presidential candidates?
That's going to start. They're going to start every debate with.
Well, so Martin O'Malley has said he's going to get in, but there is no denying that if Joe Biden gets in and Hillary Clinton gets in, it's going to be awfully hard for a guy like Martin O'Malley.
But in 2007, Hillary Clinton was the nominee, and a funny thing happened on the way to the West Front.
House. Yeah. Funny how that happened.
So I think it's way too early to tell. And Hillary and I are my friend Hillary, Mrs. Clinton and I are the same age, and I'm telling you, I traveled with Bill. Not Bill. What was his name? Thompson. No, not Thompson.
Fred Thompson?
Fred Thompson. Fred Thompson.
That makes my point.
The actor fella? Yeah, okay.
And he said once, when I write the book about, he's a very funny guy, he said, when I write the 10 rules for running for president, rule number 1 is going to be, don't have a 23-year-old scheduling a 63-year-old.
Fred Thompson's a very funny guy until you put him behind a microphone on a radio show.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And if you put his wife as the sidekick, it's really hilarious. Hilarity overwhelms you.
Let me tell you something. You want to kill 3 hours of your day? Listen to 20 minutes of Fred Thompson
or
radio.
Kill yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
he was great to work for, though.
We have to take one more quick break. We'll come back. We talked about the Democrat chances for 2016 and their best candidates. We'll talk about the Republicans. Another quick break. Peter Ogburn in for Bill Press, Rich Galen, and Woody. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill Press today with Rich Galen from Mullings.com. So we talked about the Democrats' best shot for the White House in 2016. Where are the Republicans now?
We don't have a candidate. We're not going to have a candidate. But here's what's, but here's what's going to happen. We're shutting off all traffic in and out of the island of Manhattan. So just get ready for that. We know how to do this now.
Yeah, get ahead of this. I like it. What does happen next? I mean, especially for Chris Christie. If he makes it through this.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure he could have gotten nominated anyway. I'm not sure Ronald Reagan could get nominated in this environment. So we'll just see. The system will play itself out. But this is one of those really great times for guys like us. There's an open seat on both sides.
Right.
There's no obvious vote between Biden and Clinton. There's no obvious single choice on the Democratic side. So this is the kind of stuff that makes us go to Iowa in January. And the craziness that is. So I don't know.
The exciting part, I mean, look, for us in this business of radio and covering politics, is can you imagine what it would be like to have a Hillary versus Chris Christie? I know everyone's salivating over it. I know I'm not breaking any new ground here, but boy, wouldn't that be exciting?
It depends on who's got the glass jaw, literally, physically glass. Because that could break out into fisticuffs. That really could,
It's the Bill Press Show. Rich Galen, thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
Follow him on Twitter at Rich Galen, Galen, and on Mullings.com. And Woody, Media Syndication Services, thank you so much.
Kaliki.com, Kaliki, on-demand spoken word.
This is the Bill Press Show.